You are listening to New Theory Radio. Theory Radio.
Hello and welcome to another edition of New Theory Radio here live on News Talk Saga 960 AM. My name is Nav Nanwa. I am your host, and this is the show where each and every week we theorize on arts and pop culture. And thanks again for spending another amazing Sunday with us here today. It is a bit of a gloomy Sunday. And we've had a couple of great days of weather, some really hot weather. And sometimes you got to have the gloomy days too, just to kind of realize where you're at and to see what's going on, and maybe even stay indoors and have a good time and listen to New Theory Radio. But we have a jam-packed edition of the show lined up for you this week. It is actually our special NTR Spotlight edition of New Theory Radio. Now, if you're not familiar with NTR Spotlight, it is a brand new segment that we introduced to New Theory Radio about, I would say, a month and a half ago, roughly. Yeah, about a month and a half ago. The NTR Spotlight is a segment where we profile artists, organizations, or even creatives in general that are pushing the scene forward, not just in Peel, but in the world. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback on the NTR Spotlight segments over the last few weeks that I decided to take a chance this week and decided to do an entire episode of NTR Spotlights. I thought it'd be great to profile an artist, a film festival, as well as a new media outlet that's starting, that all three of them are doing a fantastic job in pushing the culture forward. And that's what this week's episode is about. The first person that we have lined up is an artist hailing from Toronto's West End. Not only is he an artist, but he's also a community outreach leader, and he's really revolutionizing the Toronto rap scene one track at a time. And he's someone that's really using his voice not just to put out amazing records, but he's using it in a very positive fashion to really connect people. And that's Terence Penny. And Terence joins us to not only talk about his newest release, which is TP, the EP2. He actually drops an exclusive, so if you want to hear that exclusive, you got to listen to the interview. But we also talk about Terence's upbringing in the Jane Finch area, how the negative perceptions that are brought on by the media can affect people's perception of who he is and what he brings to the table. And it's a very enlightening conversation. I know Terence, when I was talking to him, he was really in the mode where he was putting in a lot of work and working on some new projects. And I think he's itching to be back on a stage. So hopefully he'll be able to do that soon in a safe manner. But I really enjoyed talking to Terence. He's someone who is definitely bright, has a star that's going to shine for many years to come. And I hope you enjoy that conversation as well. And then we are going to be joined by my good friend Sunny Gill. Sunny is the president and founder of the International Film Festival of South Asia, otherwise known as BMO IFFSA Toronto. It is the largest South Asian film festival in North America. It's truly a pioneer organization that's recently been devoted to advancing the development, promotion, and celebration of cinematic arts. When you hear this interview, you'll hear Sunny refer to IFFSA not just as a film festival, but as an institution, as a center of excellence. Due to the pandemic, he's had to shift the festival to be completely virtual, and it's now taking place between the dates of August 6th to the 16th. And kudos to Sunny and his team. If you go to his website, IFFSAToronto.com, he's actually created for the festival this year a bit of a Netflix style interface. So very cool. He has a lot of Canadian premieres, just like previous years, happening even this year, but using virtual means. He's having panels. And we really sort of talk about that pivot. We talk about Sunny's goals for the future when it comes to IFFSA. It is in its 9th year, approaching its 10th next year. And a lot of the programming that he has coming up, he actually has one in particular is a tribute that's taking place to the recently deceased Irfan Khan, who was a very known actor, not just in Bollywood, but he actually starred in a couple movies within Hollywood as well. So very much looking forward to this chat with Sunny. I definitely feel you guys will enjoy it. He's someone who's really thinking about things differently when it comes to big level events and bringing people together. And again, even what he's been able to do using his website and bringing his festival online. He mentions that TIFF is actually going to be using the same software. So to me, I think that's really great. I think it's awesome for him, and I think it's showing the kinds of innovation that we're seeing within the arts and culture space as we progress through the current normal that we're all facing, this new normal that we're all facing right now. And then we are going to conclude this week's NTR Spotlight edition of New Theory Radio by welcoming someone that I've actually been wanting to have on the show since its inception. She is a curator, a community builder, an artist, someone who's very much a true connector when it comes to the local scene within arts and culture. It is my good friend Harjot Gumin Matharu, or Jot. You might know her by Jot because I know the streets know her as Jot, as someone who has a lot of respect in the community. She is someone who currently has her own curation company called The Glass Museum. She's had that for quite some time. But a new project that she's working on with someone who is a New Theory Radio alum, my good friend Reggie Ajala from Willendorf, is a magazine called Newest. Newest magazine is a brand new platform that's actually launching on July 21st. It is Canada's magazine on identity, art, and togetherness, very much focused on inclusivity and really allowing people to share their perspectives and not feel like they need to change who they are. And I'm loving the vibe of Newest. I'm loving the creative that they're coming out with. And Jot actually is an editor for Newest magazine, so we're going to be talking about that. And what's great is Jot is actually someone that I've known to be almost the behind-the-scenes type of person. Like, she's someone that's a bit of a visionary and likes to work behind the scenes and bring things to the forefront. What's awesome about Newest magazine is she's actually going to be able to bring her art to the forefront. So she's actually a spoken word artist, so we're going to talk about how that journey was for her and being able to emerge from behind the scenes and almost be in front of the camera and showcase what she's good at and what her passions are. I can't wait to pick Jot's brain about that. It was an awesome conversation, so I hope you definitely enjoy it. And do check out Newest magazine. The first issue drops, like I mentioned earlier, July 21st, and we will have all the details for how you can check that out on our social, as well as in our podcast description on Tuesday. Jam-packed edition of NTR. I'm really looking forward to these conversations. I hope you are as well. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and then when I come back, I'm going to be joined by Terence Penny, and we're going to talk TP the EP2 here on News Talk, Saga 960 AM.
You are listening to New Theory Radio.
Man, them got Top Boy inspired. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. 2020 is a new year, man. I see clear. Really, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Got a lot of tricks in my bag. Got movements to make, man. It's coming right soon.
Let 'em know.
Them man pre what I say.
Yeah.
Them man watch what a young man do. Hey, them man love to complain.
Okay.
Why you think them man never make moves? Hey, man like to hate like Skip. Them type of man don't make no quib. Hating on the king like James. Why you think them man never win?
And we are back here on New Theory Radio, here live on News Talk, Saga 960 AM, the show where we theorize on arts and pop culture. My name is Nav Nanwa. I'm your host. And it is about that time for our NTR Spotlight. This is our NTR Spotlight edition of New Theory Radio. And joining us first, he is an artist who has a natural ability to connect with people and uses music to leave audiences uplifted and energized. God and community are truly his foundation in making this happen. And what's awesome is he writes his own material. He's performed locally and internationally as a headliner, and most recently was an opening act for the Juno Award-winning Toronto Mass Choir, the Toronto Jazz Orchestra. And we're very excited to have him here on New Theory Radio to talk about his brand new EP, TP, the EP2. It is Terence Penny joining us here on New Theory Radio. Terence, thanks so much for making time for us, man.
What's poppin'? Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
I want to take it all the way back, man. You are someone that has just a lot of energy and a lot of presence. When I was listening to your EP, TP, the EP2, and I must say that the diverse sounds that you have on this record are truly phenomenal. And for someone who just got introduced to your music, I found myself very much easily getting into it. I didn't have to force it. The vibe was there. I want to go all the way back. How did you get your start in music?
Yeah, honestly, bro, I started rapping. So I went to this church, and they wanted to host concerts to kind of like reach to the youth. So someone taught me there how to rap, and I just kind of stuck to it. Then I learned how to kind of like find my voice and articulate myself a lot more. And I ran with it from that point.
That's sweet. Yeah, you actually grew up in the Jane Finch part of Toronto. How has that area kind of impacted your music?
I've seen a lot growing up and whatnot. So like for me, like a lot of good and bad, and a lot of people in my community who've helped shape me. And with that being said, like I feel like I'm a journalist. I just talk about my experiences in that setting, and I've been appreciative of the people who've been able to be in my life and do that life with, that I can now kind of like share those experiences and whatnot. So that's kind of that's how my music is somewhat kind of like
yeah.
Too.
I like that, man. I like that because I remember hearing there was a rapper, and the name is escaping me right now, but someone once compared hip hop to the CNN of the streets, and I like your analogy about being a journalist and being able to report on what's going on. Was that something that just naturally came to you?
You know what? Like for me, no. Naturally, at the beginning, like I was doing a lot of like church rap and stuff like that. But like I learned how to articulate like my faith, but then to articulate like what's really going on in my reality at the same time. So with that being said, like I just just spoke the way I spoke. It wasn't anything too serious. It became more personal for me in that setting instead of just saying corny cliches.
Yeah. And it's very easy to get stuck with the corny stuff as well, especially when you are trying to maybe get influenced by what's get big amongst commercial music, right? It's very easy to try to hop on a trend or hop on something that may not feel real to you. Was that always something that you kind of kept in mind when putting your music together, was making sure that whatever you were working on felt really real? Yeah,
because I think people smell fake. And I don't want you to smell that cologne on me. Period.
Yeah, authenticity is key, man. And that kind of leads me to
got a good scent. It got a good scent.
It does have a good scent. It does. Authenticity should be a cologne that everyone wears, right?
I'm telling you, if they even had the cologne called Authenticity, I'd buy it just because it says I'm real. Like we should go work with like a cologne brand like Prada or something like that.
Dude, man.
Prada presents authenticity.
I'm down. Presented by New Theory Radio and Terence Penny, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. But you have a natural ability of being able to connect with people. Where did that come from?
You know what? Like by trade, I'm a child and youth worker within the Toronto District School Board.
Nice, man.
So like, I'm always, conversating and getting to know people, right? So that being said, like, that's a little bit what I do. I'm naturally, and I'm an extrovert. I love people. I like foam at the mouth when people are around.
Yeah.
So when people aren't around, I tend to sleep. But when they are, I'm definitely charged up by people. So yeah, that's just always been who I am.
You were just telling me before we started recording that you're kind of tired of the online and you want to really get back into it.
Correct.
I remember just doing some research on you. I know that you have a killer live show. I know you love performing. How has that adjustment been for you over the last few months, being sort of cooped up inside and doing more of this virtual conversation?
I'm going crazy because, I love being with people. I don't think we're meant to be looking at screens all the time. It's different between actually being with people. So, like, I'm not a fan of it, but, like, I'm doing the best that I can with it, doing all these, Instagram live shows and stuff like that. Like, I had a release party, on IG Live, and it felt almost the same, but it wasn't. It was still fun, but it wasn't. It's just different, when you can actually, do the whole thing instead of just kind of being stuck looking at, how big is this? I don't know, 15 centimeter screen?
Yeah, I guess.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, screen fatigue, man. We talked about it last week on New Theory Radio. It's so real, and I feel like when the quarantine started, it was so easy to be intrigued by, hey, I'm an artist. I'm going to jump on IG Live. I'm going to do a little performance for you. Yeah, and eventually I move on.
Yeah, like I look at my timeline and I see like 10 people on live. So I'm like, God, this is probably... Now I'm tired of those same 10 people because they're still live. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Tell me more about your community outreach work, man. How has that been for you right now?
It's been good. Right now it's a little difficult due to COVID. And right now people kind of being hesitant because of social distancing. But, there's still ways that we can kind of do things. So, like, on the 30th of July, I'm doing a benefits concert with what's a sneeze? Okay.
I'll edit that out.
Right? No, so I'm doing a benefit concert with the Erectile Youth Mentorship, so like we were trying to give people opportunities, to kind of take something, kind of give back to the community, even though it's like through a virtual show, like we're just trying to be creative and innovative how we're doing that now. But it's, like everything, it's always difficult in the beginning, right?
Yeah, especially when you think about the areas of Toronto that could really use the assistance. And again, Jane Finch has always been one of those areas where people have this negative perception about it because of what they see in the news. And that negative perception to me has unfairly been given to a lot of the people that live there who are maybe trying to make a difference like yourself. Have you thought about ways to change that?
Well, for me, it's just by being a light. I've never robbed anybody. I've never shot nobody. I don't have a record. But I lived there for like 21 years of my life, and I'm not saying everybody there's squeaky clean, but like the crime happens everywhere. At the end of the day, there's white collar, there's blue collar, there's whatever color you want to call it. There's different types of crimes, and I guess certain people are over policed and marginalized in that situation. When you're being put in a desperate situation, you do desperate things. So I've seen people do that just like anybody else would do that for themselves. So it's just interesting. I like to label this is a high priority community because there's people who do frauds and like tax evasions. Are they high priority communities because they're crime infested, quote unquote?
Yeah, true.
So with that being said, it's just pretty interesting how that kind of works. But, I've always felt safe in my community.
Yeah, hey, I feel like if you know your neighbors, if you know the people around you, if you know the right groups to hang out with or the right people to surround yourself with, there's no reason not to feel safe, right?
Yeah,
like
that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the mainstream media or some of the mainstream local media that we have can
very biased. Yeah, very biased. I got people from, like, I don't mean to get political or whatnot, but I got people from the, like, who kind of have a right-wing type of like thought process saying, we're a bunch of killers and thugs. And I got a bunch of people on the left who pretend like they like me because of where I'm from and, pretend like I'm unable to do things. So every time I do something, they're like, whoa. No, bro. Like, yeah, like, so I'm bully. It's like
I've been out here, man.
Yeah, you're clapping because I can walk. Well, I got strength in my legs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's pretty interesting, just seeing, those type of two kind of like perspectives. That's where I stand.
Just to take it back to the music, when I was going through your EP, the sounds are very diverse. You got, like, to me, I hear a little bit of drill, I hear a little bit of R&B, a little bit of reggae. How did the Terence Penny style come about?
That, like I said, where I came up, like I grew up, you come into Toronto, you come into Jane Finch, especially like, like you hear a lot of those, I'm Ghanaian and West African, so you're saying there's reggae, but I'm African, so, like, like I've always kind of grown up listening to so many different things, and You know, it's very diverse where I'm at. You know, like we grew up eating like freaking pho and, you know, having like, you know, like I went to school with so many different types of people, you know, so like I eat curry goat. Me and my friends are eating curry goat today, and then we're eating pho the next day, and then we're having vindaloo the next day. You know, we're going to tandoori time. We're doing all that, and then we're going to the Somalian spot from Mushkaki. So like, it's never a dull moment, you know, or some, you know, where it's over. Like, you know, if you're driving around, you hear different music. So like, you know, you develop a different kind of appetite. You know, I feel like Jane Finch, you know, it's like a buffet of different things you can try. And you know, I've been blessed to say that.
I definitely agree with you, and that's the one thing I love about just being in Toronto or being in the Greater Toronto area, or even I'm from Brampton, so Brampton kind of has a similar type of vibe as well. Is just seeing the diversity and not being ignorant towards it because you've grown up with it, right? Like, you know, you mentioned as you were talking about all the food selections, I got a little hungry again, but dude, that's the one thing I love is the fact that, you know, from an Uber Eats standpoint, my wife and I can easily order jerk chicken, or we can easily order Korean fried, right? Like, it's not an issue.
No, it's just normal. It's Toronto.
That's dope, man. Tell me about your relationship with God. You seem like a spiritual person. Was that just based on your upbringing?
Yeah, not really. Like, you know, I became a Christian when I was in grade 10, so I was 15 or 16.
Okay.
I'm 25 now, so what's that, 10 years? So yeah, like, you know, you hear in my music, you know, that's a part of me. That's my worldview at the same time. So like, you know, like my faith in God, my faith in Christ has been able to push me as to where I am today. And yeah, like, you know, for me, it's not that like my faith is not the, it doesn't equal what I do. So even if I didn't do any of these things, I'll still be content in my faith. Yeah. But I'm not going to say like God saved me from the hood, you know, because there are people who love God in the hood too. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like the grace of God has been good to my life, and you know, I'm just learning more about that. So that's just, you know, who I am, and you hear that in my music.
Yeah, because it's not preachy at all, but you kind of get this underlying feeling that there's this almost this greater power that's guiding you regarding the moves that you need to be making. You know, obviously, you know, a couple of years ago, Drake's God's Plan was a big track, and he kind of addressed that. And I think a lot of people maybe got that message a little twisted because he was like giving out money in his music video. But there seems like there's something kind of guiding you regarding the way you're making the music. And maybe that's a good time to talk about TP the EP too. Tell me about that whole entire process.
For me, the process, I remember, there's a TP the EP one.
So, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So in the one, you know, it just like, it was a big thing for me because I just graduated college. You know, I just, you know, was looking to get like, you know, into my career. I had a very bad fallout with this church that I used to go to, and I felt like they were calling me a rebel. So I was talking about things like that. And like, there's a lot of success out of that, you know, and it really kind of like helped me build a name in my city. You know, TP the EP2 kind of like documented like, okay, that happened, but like, look, now he's grown from that. You know, he's much more, you know, like sharpened, and he's ready to show you what's been going on and how he's feeling now. So I feel like I came on with a little bit of an edge, talking about where I'm from, who I am, and where I'm going. So, you know, 2020 is a new year, man. I see Clay, really, I don't know about you. Like that line thing, like, yo, like, I'm not playing this year. Like, I gotta, regardless of what's going on, I'm not playing. And regardless of Corona's still going on, I still see clear. It doesn't matter. So, you know, like things like that. And, you know, like, even though I see clear, like, if you really knew some of the things that, like, you know, people gotta like give up or push through to get where they have to be, am I willing to necessarily do that? So, like, those are some of the things that are conflicting in my heart right now. And I decided to pen it and, you know, put it on wax.
That's good, man. That's good. And I think taking life experience and being able to put that into your art is so crucial.
Yeah, life is music, bro.
Yeah. Are there any tracks that you had a lot of fun putting together?
I enjoyed 2020. That was a lot of fun. I love grime and drill music, so from the UK. So I'm always like listening to that. I enjoyed that a lot. Something that I was intimately writing was something like If You Really Knew.
Even North, man. North is a good one too.
North. I like Worthwhile a lot. Worthwhile just gives me that bounce. I'm a big I like when I was writing that. Me and my roommate, he's a producer, so like we just kicked it, we cooked up together and got that done. So,
nice, man. That's dope.
Yeah, things like that.
How was that living with one of your producers? Do you find that the output is just increasing now that you guys are cooked up inside?
It's easy to kind of write because like I just got an idea and I walk 3 steps and I say, "Bro, 1, 2, 3."
Just get working.
I call it a LeBron travel, but I made it anyways. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. The one thing I wanted to talk to you about in particular is a track "If You Really Knew," and this to me was a standout on the EP because as I was listening to the lyrics, it's a lot of it's really affirmations. A lot of it's really you kind of telling yourself and reaffirming some of your beliefs regarding where you see yourself going or who you are as a person.
Not to lose that.
Not to definitely lose that for sure. What was the process like when putting those lyrics together?
It took me some time to write that song, and it just made me think about like, I know a lot of artists that like do some crazy stuff in order to get where they are, and then you hear stories of certain artists that kind of like what do you call it? Like they like drug certain people, and they've done insane things just so they can get where they are, and they can't live with themselves knowing that they did that. So I questioned, and I just said to myself, Terence, like, are you willing to do those things to get to that point too? Are you that hungry or desperate? They're two different things to get where that point, or can you be bought in that setting? Can you maintain, who you are? And I just thought, like, if you really knew that pressure that I deal with, although it's a song about me and music, like, I feel like everyone has that temptation, to kind of step over or to do whatever they have to do to get over, that hump that they're dealing with. So, like, as an artist, sometimes it can be frustrated like that. And that was my heart behind it. So, that's why I said, like, I'm going to be a star. It don't matter where you come from. If you really knew, Ronnie sang that because of the fact that it's like, especially coming where I'm come from, like, they sell you like you can be a star. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you really knew what really you got to do to get where you want to go, what I'm saying? That was the idea, So it's like, if you really knew, would you really want to do that to get there? Just you can still do this and still not compromise who you are. You don't got to sell it so. Yeah,
because it's very easy for someone to get caught up in that.
100%. And then if people say, "Oh, he sold his soul," that's what selling your soul is. It's when you give up yourself in that situation to get where you want to be. It's not not no crazy seance or whatnot. It's you just giving it up, doing whatever for anyone. Being everyone for everyone in order to get somewhere.
Right now, it really feels like Toronto's moment, man. In music, obviously Drake's on a wave. The Weeknd's killing it. Tory, Jesse Reyes, like it's just the list is piling on and on. How does that feel for you as an artist?
It's what I love the fact that I'm being able to be a part of something that is developing and is growing rapidly because it means that I can cement myself in there too. You can't walk on ground that's already built. So you can already walk on ground that's already built, but like if you had a hand in building it, at least you could say like, I did that,
Yeah.
So I'm happy to say that, I want to be able to be part of that growth and that process and, that the building,
Yeah, it's a strong foundation for sure. And that's actually a great segue to another question that I have. And who are some of your influences?
Me, I like right now, who are my influences right now? I like this guy's name. His name is Lecrae.
Yeah.
I like drills. I like a lot of the heady one.
Yeah.
It's very like polar, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, drill's the wave right now. Like even with the Pop Smoke album, right? Like everyone's on
Pop
drill
Smoke too. Yeah. I've been listening to that Pop Smoke album like crazy. Yeah. Anything that kind of feels good. I like a lot of Afrobeat, so I'm definitely like into the waves and whatnot. Just anything that feels good right now. I don't have too many crazy artists that are like on the top of my head right now.
Have you thought about bringing some of your Ghanaian influence into music?
Hell yeah, I got some songs already that I've sampled.
Oh yeah,
so, I got some of those old African records. I got that shit. I got it like it's coming. Don't worry, it's already like it's loading, bro.
I love that,
Singapore.
man. I love that. We're gonna have to play some of those for sure.
Oh,
for
I got
sure.
you.
Just to close this one out, man, this has been an awesome conversation. Where does Terence Penny see himself in 5 years?
I see myself rocking some stages and raging all over the globe, my brother. That's it. That's it. Period. You know, full time doing this music full time.
Yeah.
And living it worthwhile.
And that should be the goal, man. You definitely got the talent for it. Again, TP the EP2. Check out 1 as well. But TP the EP2 is the most recent project, and it's definitely worth checking out. And yeah, man, we're looking forward to seeing how far Terence Penny goes, man.
Yo, I'll give you a little tidbit. You know, I got some new music. I got a deluxe TP the EP deluxe coming out. You know,
okay, cool.
What's it called? I don't know if you guys know the Clips.
Yeah.
I got a song with Malice. No Malice.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. No, this is the first time you got the sneak peek. So,
No Malice. You got a track with No Malice.
Yeah, No Malice. Yeah, he's coming here.
Wow, man.
So,
I'm a big Clips fan too. That is
No Malice, you know, it's lit, you know, like
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, hey man.
Exclusive.
That's an exclusive. That's a new theory.
Yo, when we play this interview, you gotta put like exclusive alert.
I might have to cut this.
Drop a bomb, the clues bomb.
Dude, that is amazing. I'm looking forward to that. And it's funny because No Malice popped up on Kanye's last album, right? So again, for me, just to kind of touch on my love for the Clips, because we've talked about the Clips on a couple episodes of New Theory Radio, especially when we did an episode a few months back on the best duos in music. And
they're like the Hardy Boys of like
hip-hop. Yeah. I would love, and I don't know how this could happen, but I'd love to hear a Pusha T No Malice album and just see the different sides.
Yeah, they may. I think I heard of that, being a thing, so ironically, Pusha T, me and him carry the same name. His name's Terence.
Oh, there you go.
I have the book, like read there. Yeah, Malice got a documentary.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, congrats on that. That's a big feature. And once that's up, we'll put that on the new theory. We'll put
TP the EP Deluxe.
Yeah, we'll put TP the EP2 on Deluxe. Everyone go check that out. And Terence, if anyone wants to connect with you or listen to your music, what's the best way to do that?
Yo, honestly, on my social media, hit me up at Terence Penny. I'm gonna spell it out like Aquila and the B. Very easy. TERENCE If you didn't get it, I'm sorry. That's it. Love. Appreciate this, man.
Awesome, man. Dude, congrats on everything. Your star is definitely bright. We can't wait to keep tabs on you and see what you're doing. And again, bring you back on New Theory Radio whenever you want to talk about whatever is going on, because you're doing awesome work, not just in music, but in the community as well. So continue to be a positive influence, man. We appreciate that.
All right, man. So that's up.
We are going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to have more New Theory Radio here live on News Talk, Saga 960 AM.
It's a new year in it. Never took an L. All I know is keep on winning. Know it be my year, so a brother keep on killing. 2020, know that I'm coming with all the game. It's like, ooh, yeah. 2020, it's a new year, man. I see clear. Really, I don't know about you. Got a lot of tricks in my bag. Got movements to make, man. It's coming right soon. Dead man pre what I say. Dead man watch what a young man do. Hey, dead man love to complain. Why you think dead man never make moves?
How you mean? 2020, I see clear. That's the new mantra, you see it? These guys thought I was joking, fam. Man. Yo, big man, you're on the track.
You are listening to New Theory Radio.
And we are back here on New Theory Radio, here live on News Talk, Saga 960 AM. My name is Nav Nanwa. I'm your host, and this is the show where we theorize on arts and pop culture. It is definitely an interesting time when it comes to any sort of festival right now during the summer. But one festival keeps moving forward and keeps providing relevant programming and keeps exciting their audiences with new and innovative ways to showcase various films. And I'm talking about the IFFSA Toronto Festival. It is the International Film Festival of South Asia, presented by BMO. And I'm super excited to welcome here on the show. He is the president and founder of IFFSA Toronto. It is my good friend, Sunny Gill. Sunny, thanks so much for joining us here on U3 Radio.
Thank you, Nav. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to reach out to your audiences. And I'm excited to invite everyone to the virtual edition of IFFSA Toronto.
And what's amazing about IFFSA this year, Sunny, is you are taking a different approach, obviously, with COVID-19 and with the pandemic. Movie theaters aren't open, and that's actually done some damage, I must say, to a lot of different festivals and big level events that usually take place during the summer months. But you have used this opportunity to pivot, and this year's IFFSA, which is, I would like to mention, the 9th year that the festival is running, so big congratulations on that as well, is going completely virtual. Do you mind shedding some light about that?
Yes, Nav. As you know, IFFSA is the largest South Asian film festival in North America, and it happens regularly in each May, for 15 days there. But because of all these COVID challenges, then we had to rethink. And with that now, we have brought the whole festival experience online in the shape of BMO IFFSA Virtual 2020. So the dates are August 6th to 16th. And it is a hybrid kind of a format. So where we will be live streaming, a lot of our events. And then we have developed our own portal, which will host all this world-class cinema that we curate for our audiences.
Yeah, you and I were just talking before the interview. You've almost created like a Netflix for yourself.
Yes, it is a very secure portal because the thing is, the festival brings... when we are doing it live in person, 90% films are at least a Canadian premiere. So that's a requirement for the festival. Mm. So when you have these unreleased films, you want to make sure that you have a secure portal. And so that's what we have done. We have invested a lot of resources to develop this world-class portal, which will give you same look and feel like Netflix. In fact, now TIFF is going to use the same portal for their September edition this year.
Excellent. That's awesome. And that's great synergy because like I mentioned, everybody who is running a film festival or running a big level production of a gigantic event that would normally take place at a venue like a Yonge and Dundas Square, they've all had to pivot online. How was that pivot for you? Like, when did you decide that, you know what, this year's IFFSA is not going to look like previous years?
See, Nav, me personally, I thrive on challenges. Mm. If I don't have a challenge, I become lazy. So I always have to have a challenge. And so even with this now, then, we just, thought like what we can do the best. And as you can see, the whole team worked real hard, right? And we were able to accomplish all this within 2 months period. I mean, we had no intention of doing this, before, because our in-person festival, as you know, it's full of excitement, and but then we had to do all this within 2 months of period, and I think everybody's appreciating what has been accomplished in these 2 months.
What's awesome about IFFSA, Sunny, is it's not just the International Film Festival of South Asia. You have a bunch of other festivals that fall underneath IFFSA. And these mini festivals are very impactful. You got Youth Lens Film Festival. You have the Sick Art and Film Festival. You also have a Vancouver edition of IFFSA as well. How has that how has the current pandemic impacted all of those mini festivals that you run?
Yeah, so now before that, actually, so we are developing IFFSA as an institution for South Asian cinematic arts.
Oh, nice.
So what, the thought process is that, we as South Asians been in this country, in Canada, for over 100 years, but we still have not been part of the mainstream as much as we should be there. And media and films in particular are a medium which can help us do that. I mean, if I have to say, build a strong relationship with you or any friend, so the strongest indication is when I enter your family room. Mm-hmm. When you allow me into your family room, and through films, actually, so we can take our stories and we can reach into any person's family room on their television. So with those thoughts, then we have developed our programming. So now IFFSA is a year-round institution. So we have like you mentioned, all these sub festivals, and then we have other initiatives as well. We recently launched our BMO IFFSA Talent Fund as well, which will be helping the new South Asian voices.
That's awesome.
We'll be grooming. And I also say this, often, that we have, a lot of role models, say, for example, in political space. But we need leaders in media and in arts and in cinematic arts, those kind of spaces. So that is one of our goals as IFFSA, that we will be helping, develop and groom our future leaders in arts and media space as well.
That's a great initiative, Sunny, because I know you have an engineering background, I have a business background, but you and I both have an appreciation for arts and culture and wanting to grow the scene amongst our various communities. And growing up for a lot of youthful South Asian people, whether it's going through the school system or whether it's trying to find employment after going to university, it can be very deterring to want to become a filmmaker or want to become a creative. Was the IFFSA Talent Fund, or that BMO is supporting, was that a part of the thinking to really enable a lot more creativity amongst our up and coming stars or up and coming youth within our communities?
Absolutely. So it is a jury based by invitation only talent fund at this time. So we are running a pilot for the first year, and we'll see how it goes. But the intention is exactly like what you said. So we have to encourage our story makers, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So because we don't necessarily want to showcase content which comes from abroad. So we also want to develop our own local Canadian, South Asian Canadian stories, and there are a lot of them here, right? And this fund will encourage that.
Tell me a bit more about the programming this year, and I just want to put some numbers beside what you do for IFFSA, because again, I think this part on the website does a fantastic job in really showcasing how big your festival is. You have 250 plus films, 80 plus events, 16 plus languages represented, which, to your point earlier, it's really showcasing what South Asian film is all about. It's not just one era of film. There's other parts of it that exist as well. 30 plus festival days. It's a national platform. That's typically what we look at when we see or when we think about the largest South Asian film festival in North America. But with the programming this year, you're moving digital. What are some of the key highlights?
Yes, for this year, the festival dates are August 6th to 16th. And during that time, so we'll be bringing 100 plus films and 50 plus different events. It has been truncated a little bit from what it would have been for in-person edition, mm-hmm. But still the excitement is there, and we have brought in world-class cinema again for our audiences. Actually, now the audiences are worldwide, actually.
Oh wow!
So Nav, so we have divided the whole 11 days, and we have given a theme to each day. So, for example, the very first day is called Kissa Irfan Khan, celebrating the man, the actor, the legend. So Irfan had a great relationship with our festival. We showcased 3 of his films as well. We did the North American or the Canadian premiere for his films. One was Kissa, actually, and then the second was The Song of Scorpions, and third was a Bengali film called Doob, No Bed of Roses.
Did he attend your festival as well?
So okay, I'll come to that. So okay. Before that, this No Bed of Roses actually went for Oscars also.
Yeah.
And for Irfan, yes, we tried 3 years in a row, man.
Oh wow!
So, and he was coming every time something or the other happened, and the last time being his illness, right?
Oh,
but otherwise, he's a great friend of the festival. So this is a tribute to the man, the actor, the legend that he was. So the first day is the whole programming is based around that. Then the second is the Love, Lament, and Rebellion. And as the name suggests, so we will have films which will be around those themes. So one of the films I would like to mention is Bombay Rose, which actually just a couple of days back was picked up by Netflix. But you don't have to wait for months to watch it. So you can watch it at IFFSA, on August 7th.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
similarly, then the rest, we have contemporary voices. A lot of new generation of filmmakers who are being celebrated on international platforms. Like Cannes Film Festival or Berlin or Rotterdam, Sundance, right? So those kind of platforms. So we have curated films by them, and then we will also be having discussions and talks with these folks. Then the next section that we have is the feminine mystique. And as the name suggests, this is about female based films or about female filmmakers. And there's a big again crop of female filmmakers again producing world class cinema. So we have brought them together, or their films together. Some of the names I would like to give out here is Konkana Sen, for example, and Rima Das, right? Rima's films have been on every platform, and she was nominated for Oscar as well last year. So we've been showing her films at the festival also. Then we have a master class with Nandita Das. I think everybody knows Nandita. She's a social activist. She's a film, actress, and she's a director also. Her film Manto was at Cannes last year. It came to TIFF also for a special screening. So this is a celebration of women filmmakers, and also talking about the challenges that they might, the unique challenges that they might have, and also the unique opportunities that female filmmakers have, and then so on. And some of the other elements that I might want to talk about is under our social impact mandate. So under this, we have a frame of mind, which we work very closely with the KMH, Center for Addictions and Mental Health. And the whole day is dedicated to films and talks and discussions on mental health. This is one of our very successful programs. We are very proud of it. And we have had parents come in tears to us after the program has happened, because they feel, sometimes people are fighting these issues in isolation, and then they come out, they see a whole community, and then they see a support system, they even find some solutions being suggested. So then they feel very grateful, and we're really proud of this, and we want to grow this even further. So the new addition for this programming, Nav, is our Love is Love is Love segment, which is to talk about LGBTQ community and the films around that. So we have films which talk about both gay relationships and lesbian relationships, and we are also engaging the community. So we will again have discussions and keynote addresses on this issue. Particularly, we need to raise awareness, particularly in our South Asian community, because some of these issues, we try to. Sometimes we find hesitation. I mean, with the younger people, it's they're very, very open about things, very, very accepting. But with the older generation, sometimes we need to educate them.
Yeah,
and that's where we use film as a medium to open up those discussions.
Sunny, how do you come up with these themes? Like, these themes are very thought-provoking. Like, how does, when you're planning out IFFSA, how far in advance are you kind of thinking about the different topics that you want to tackle? And is a lot of this related to maybe the submissions that you get while you're putting the festival together?
No, actually, it's the other way around. So, like I said to you earlier, right? We see film as a medium, and then what do you want to do with that medium is up to you. So so I don't necessarily see film as an entertainment, but as also a weapon for change. So with with those thoughts, then we come up with come up with these different themes, and then we curate films around those themes. So this is just using the film to raise awareness, to talk about these issues. So this takes whole year, Nav. So this is not like a couple of months, But once we finish our festival, like in normal circumstances, it finishes in May. June we take a rest because we are so burnt out.
Yeah.
And then July we start all over again. So this is thousands of hours and lots of other resources that go into this thing. But we're very happy with how the results are there, the outcomes are there, and how people are engaging and appreciating our programming.
Yeah, it seems like each year every time I hear about IFFSA, it's always getting bigger, and the programming is becoming more thought-provoking, and the names you get involved are quite renowned. And even over the last 9 years, I know there's been a ton of filmmakers that have even become even bigger, and they've come through IFFSA, and even vice versa. You've held a lot of national premieres at IFFSA as well. And you're going into year 10 next year, which is super exciting. But just continuing on with sort of year 9, another interesting part for this year, because you're going virtual, is I believe you're offering the programming for free this year.
Yes, actually, even from day one now, actually, the intention was always to give back to the community, engage the community, especially in these, thought-provoking discussions. So it was not about, making money off this, right? And now, especially with COVID, when the community is already facing so many challenges, so we have decided to keep everything free. So all people have to do is visit our website, which is IFFSA Toronto, IFFSA Toronto.com. And then they just enter the virtual festival. They can explore the whole schedule there, date and time-wise. And then there's a virtual theater that we have created. So people can just enter that, open a free account. It just needs your name and email. And then you can browse through, different offerings, and then start adding those to your library. And starting August, so this is advanced booking, and starting August 6th, then these will start becoming available to watch.
Yeah, I was actually playing around with the website earlier, and super user friendly. And I think you and I were talking about before we got on the air that you're hoping that even moving forward, even if we do resume back into being into movie theaters and being able to experience film in a crowd again, that you still would love to keep an element of this virtual going. Do you think that's the trend kind of moving forward for creators like you, where if you're putting all this effort into still making your festivals happen using online and various digital means, do you think that's just going to continue even when life goes back to normal?
I think it'll be a combination, Nav, because we are social beings after all, right? So that means we would like to go out and meet in person, embrace each other. So that will, and next year particularly, so it's our 10th year, we would like it to be, a big excitement. But yes, we are going to keep this virtual footprint as well. I mean, there are certain, restrictions and how far we can go with that, especially because when the content that we bring, like I said earlier, 90% of the films are at least a Canadian premiere. So that means unreleased content.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make sure, all the protections are there and how far we can go with that.
Exactly. And you know what, Sunny, with challenges usually breeds innovation, and you guys have definitely innovated this year. So big congratulations on the 9th year of BMO of IFFSA. It looks fantastic. The lineup is super thorough. I urge everybody to go to IFFSAToronto.com to check everything out. Sunny, if there's one thing that you're proud about for this year's festival, and I know that's a bit of a loaded question because I know you're probably proud of all of it, but if there's something that you would really love our listeners to check out between the time of August 6th to the 16th, what would that be?
Yes, it is actually hard because with we are very proud of our programming actually, Nav. So the 11 days, how we have divided it into different themes, that makes it super easy for people to follow,
mm-hmm.
and then they can pick and choose what they like. And then these social impact themes that we have picked up. So we are super proud of that also, because we believe talks need to happen.
Yeah.
And so that is another component that we're really proud of.
Awesome. Well, congrats again, Sunny, and thank you so much for coming on New Theory Radio. I know I'm definitely looking forward to IFFSA next month. I think it's going to be a fantastic event, and a big congrats to you and the team again for making this happen. And best of luck heading into year 10. I think, with the way things are going, I think sooner than later, hopefully we'll be back in movie theaters to really enjoy these moments together. And I know despite what's going on in the world, you're going to do your best to continue to make IFFSA very powerful when it comes to the film scene, not only in Canada, but across the world. So congrats again. And we look forward to having you on again in the near future.
Absolutely. And it is all because of friends like you. So we need the community to support, and then we'll keep on growing bigger and bigger and making a bigger impact for all of us. Like, we say, it's your stories, your festival.
Awesome. That's Sunny Gill, the president and founder of IFFSA Toronto, the largest South Asian film festival in North America, brought to you by BMO. Go check them out again, August 6th to the 16th. We'll have all the information available to you on social media as well as our podcast bio. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to have more New Theory Radio here live on News Talk, Saga 960 AM.
You are listening to New Theory Radio.
We are back here on New Theory Radio, here live on News Talk, Saga 960 AM. My name is Nav Nanwa. I am your host, and this is the show where we theorize on arts and pop culture. And it is our special NTR Spotlight edition of New Theory Radio. And if you're not familiar with the NTR Spotlight, it's a brand new segment that we introduced a few weeks ago where we like to profile artists, organizations, or creatives that are pushing the scene forward within Peel and the world. And I'm super excited about my next guest. There's a brand new magazine dropping on July 21st. It is called Newest. It is Canada's magazine on identity, art, and togetherness. And my next guest is actually somebody that I've been wanting on the show for quite some time. So I'm so happy that we're finally able to make it happen. She is a curator, radio host, connector, and artist, which I'm very proud to hear about because I know that she's finally putting her work out there, which is great. And she's also the editor of Newest magazine. It is my good friend and homie, Harjot Guman Matharo. Jot, what's up? Finally get you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I know, this has been a long time. I've been wanting to be on, and I've been wanting to have this conversation with you. We connect on so many different arenas, so it's always nice to just chat.
I know it is. It totally is. And we were just saying before we started recording, our chats always go all over the place, and I feel like killing time with you is not going to be hard.
We'll make the most of it.
100%. Tell me about Newest magazine. How did it come to be? How did you get involved? And give me the whole journey.
Yeah, Newest is it's hoping to be the Canada's art and culture magazine. So it's created by Raji Ojala of Wellendorf Cultural Planning, and the art director on it, Sheena. They've just created the most incredible experience, honestly, when it comes to taking in Canadian art and Canadian perspectives, and also challenging the idea of what being Canadian is. So I believe this was created from Raji's perspective in an arena where she has worked out of, which is primarily through art institutions and from a really institutional side of things. It was created as to fill in a gap that she was feeling, that there wasn't these honest conversations about identity happening, about belonging happening, about perspectives that weren't always more than tokens happening. So this magazine was created to fill in those gaps that exist.
And what's awesome too is, I think now more so than ever, this outlet is so needed considering everything that's currently going on in the world, and the fact that it is very easy for artists, especially those of different races or different backgrounds or different colors, to feel tokenized when it comes to different things that happen, or different outlets that are looking to profile some of the different areas that exist within the Greater Toronto area or even beyond. One thing I really love about the magazine, I mentioned it off the top, is it focuses on 3 different areas: identity, art, and togetherness. Can you tell me more about that? Yeah,
the idea that we're all looking to belong or just find out who we are, that exists. And this magazine, the way it's laid out and the works that are presented, even in just the inaugural edition, are just really incredibly put together, and they really touch on all these in so many different ways. It's so true that all of us are always looking to figure that part about ourselves out. I think that's a continuous journey about, who am I? Where do I belong? What community do I belong to? And then being able to express that through artistic expression, then be able to share that. That's what this magazine is hopefully trying to do. It's really beautiful that in looking for seeing how we're different, we're able to see how we're more alike. Yeah. And that's what I feel like this magazine brings out. As an editor, I was going through and editing and just making sure it all looks cool and checking for commas and all that stuff.
Doing editor stuff,
And I kept forgetting I was supposed to be editing. I kept going through it and reading it as if I was consuming it, because
that's awesome.
I've been wanting for something like this to exist, you know? We talk about when we were kids, you want to see representation and you're missing that representation. So when we see representation in any stream right now in the mainstream, we get so excited about it.
We do.
And so when you see something like this existing, you're like, oh man, if 17-year-old Joe could see this kind of magazine, it would have been so much easier. It would have been so much easier to figure this path out of becoming an artist and being somebody who exists within the art institution world, if you had that sort of example of perspectives that look like yours.
Yeah, and magazines or media outlets or television, growing up, and you and I are similar in age, to your point, whenever you'd see some type of representation, you would get excited. Your parents would get excited, right? Because it's oh my God, this person's breaking through. Mm-hmm. But what I find intriguing about Newest is just the need to almost negate that feeling and to make it more normal that we're all putting our stuff out there, and we all should be looked at on an even playing field. It shouldn't be about tokenism. It should really be about, hey, this is really good art. You need to check it out. And you yourself have been a curator, a radio host. You've been someone that's been really pushing the scene forward. And what I love about the work that you've done with the Glass Museum is you've always shined a light on art that you necessarily wouldn't see at an AGO per se, right? Or you wouldn't see at a Royal Ontario Museum. And it's not to knock those institutions, but I think, you've already done a great job in the community to really put emphasis on that and creating an experience. How would you describe the experience for someone who's going to be checking out Newest for the first time this week?
Wow. Okay. It's an experience. I think the coolest thing about this magazine is that consuming it is a part of the experience.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think that it's for me, when I was logging on for the first time, because we are doing this digitally, and it is the Canada's first digital arts and culture magazine, is that when you're logging on, it feels like you are now entering into an exhibit. So that same feeling you get when you go into an exhibit you've been waiting for or want to check out or are excited by, that's the feeling you get. So to experience the art direction on that level, Sheena has, wow, it's it's so cool. And even then the way that each artist's pieces have been presented, the artists that are in the first magazine I can 100% say are some of the forward thinkers, some of the most influential at this point in Canadian arts.
Nice.
The perspectives that are put forward, the art that you're able to consume, again, digitally, is just really cool.
Really
cool and important. We're talking earlier about acceptance and tokenism, and Newest was created in this gap that we're not looking for acceptance. We're still when you're an artist, you're not asking for permission.
Yeah, you're not.
You are creating. You've been creating. It's then looking for those doors that have been opened or can be opened for you to share your art. This is not looking for acceptance. This is just being. That's why Newest is. It's just being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love that point. I love that because I think the whole idea around acceptance already creates a barrier in your mind.
Yeah.
When you're trying to put something forward, it's okay, I need to break through. I need to be accepted. But who are you? But it's hard to, as someone, a person of color, to think about acceptance, but not think about the way that you look or the way that you put your things out or the way that or things that you're focusing on. And already creating that mental barrier for yourself that, hey, maybe I'm not supposed to be here, or maybe there is something that's keeping me from here. So,
institutions are will create boundaries, and there's only supposed to be one brown person in the room. There's
I
always
know.
one Black name in the room.
Yeah.
Like when those kind of things are unsaid sort of parameters of how institutions have existed or have, generally like been framed out, or even then from my side as someone who's been outside the institutions, how I view institutions now. I don't feel like I'm representative there. It's like, oh, you can only have one South Asian exhibit for the next 4 years.
Yeah, literally.
And then now you kind of no more South Asian art. Let's move on to something else.
It's like we hit our quota, check.
Exactly. Yeah, art's not about quotas.
Yeah. Actually, and this is a good segue to the next question I have is, in your opinion, why are these homegrown outlets so important right now? And obviously we've touched on the role that Newest is going to play to really bring people to the forefront. But why do you think we need to see more of these types of things take place? And what's your hope that Newest will sort of influence the culture or the scene moving forward for someone else to take a chance and create their own outlet?
I think that as Canadians and as someone who isn't traditionally what people automatically in the worldview think that we're Canadian, like the idea that, we're confronting our identity constantly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a perspective that happens around the world often, and that you have to actually legitimize who you are as a Canadian. But then also forming out the identity. Like we've been saying, oh, Canada, what's our identity? This is the question that's been grappled with for a very long time. It's Canada's, slogans, oh, diversity is our identity. Well, is it really? Is that where our identity is? And is it truly what we live and what we actually experience? And do all Canadians really believe this? And then in that sense, like, for myself, I've never really been north of Barrie. Like for me, my experience is in Southern Ontario, and this is where I born, lived, raised, and for myself, how can I then connect to someone's experience, like Nyla and one of the artists in this piece, she's a Nook artist from the North. So how can I relate to her pieces? What is there intrinsically about a belonging and about togetherness and a national identity, that bridges us together? And there is, like, when you read these pieces, you understand there's so much that bridges us together. And then what is this idea of Canadianness? What makes us so Canadian? And what is the art and culture that comes out of that experience? So the idea of homegrown, publications, when the current publications and the current media outlets don't reflect 100% what the perspectives are, that's what this is trying to, create a platform for. Yeah,
and I find that I love the fact that Newest is digital, like the digital magazine outlet right now, and Canada's only arts and culture digital. I guess, is that what you said? Canada's only arts and
only, and the first one,
which is amazing. I think right now, with sort of the state of the world and the fact that we are kind of cooped up inside, this is the renaissance I was hoping for. Like, I was hoping for people to really be like, okay, I got my computer in front of me, I got my smartphone, I know some coders, I know some artists. Let's just disrupt. Like, let's just go and do something and take a chance and fill that void that's been existing for so long, but we've always had different things come up that didn't allow us to pursue it further.
Absolutely. The coolest part about Newest, like I said before, is the experience of actually consuming the magazine. The digital art, the art that's been specifically created for this platform. So, when you sometimes go into, I think that's been a disconnect for a long time, is that you, like, especially now during COVID, is that I want to go see an exhibit. Physically, I cannot. And translating something that's supposed to be analog onto a digital platform, it loses some of its essence of what you're trying to experience.
It does, yeah.
When you're standing in front of a painting and you're looking at it and you're experiencing it and trying to feel it and understand it, and you're reading the artist's statement and trying to figure that all out, that experience is now brought online in a very unique way. So the visual experience, on top of it being, a written experience, because it is a magazine, it is journalism, seeing those two come together is a really, really, really cool.
No, I'm looking forward to it for sure. And Joe, we talked about it when we introduced you in the segment. You are someone that wears many hats, whether it's a curator, radio host, community builder, connector. But what I truly love about this new project that you're embarking on is we're finally going to see you as the artist. You actually have a couple of pieces, or I think it's a written spoken word piece that's commissioned for the magazine. Tell me about that, because you've been someone, for as long as I've known you, I've only known you as like the behind the scenes sort of one-stop shop when it comes to helping artists and bringing their work to the forefront and doing a lot of the sort of strategy planning in regards to hosting an exhibit and getting the right PR and getting the right people involved to talk about it and really creating a moment. Now you're emerging from behind the scenes and you're going in front of the camera. What's that experience been like you? What's that experience been for you? And what can we expect with your piece in the magazine?
Like poetry in itself is a very vulnerable art form. You're putting yourself out there in a very bearing way. And so for me, owning that my own artistry was the first sort of thing. I've been, I've worn many hats, as you've said, but throughout it all, I've been an artist. So I've been performing in theater since I was 6 years old. Wow. I've been doing folk performing, singing for the past 20 years. And I wasn't owning that statement of being an artist, even though I was actively being an artist and actively acting and actively singing. I was like, no, I'm a curator, but I wouldn't own that side of my identity. Because, it's intimidating to put yourself out there as an artist. You're then putting yourself out there for artistic critique,
Totally. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So I was telling you earlier, there's like this bookshelf back here full of notebooks, and throughout this whole experience of doing other people's artwork, my poetry would come out as as an Instagram tagline. It would come out as within someone's bio, within someone's artist statement. Mm-hmm. I was writing always, but it was always in the form of something that was PR based. Yeah. So when Raji commissioned this piece for me, it's called Togetherness. Mm-hmm. I just jumped right in. I jumped right in because it felt time. I felt like my perspective needed to be shared. This isn't something I've ever talked about, or is it not something that people have heard from me? But I think that from the friends and family that have heard the piece, and from other artists that have heard the piece, and complete strangers actually have heard the piece already, they connect to it. So wow. I feel like the thing that I'm saying, the things that I'm talking about, and grappling with identity and grappling with feeling apart but feeling together at the same time, those are the kind of themes I talk about in Togetherness, is that those are universal. Mm-hmm. And so what I need to say needs to be said. And so if no one else is going to say it, it's got to be me, Yeah. So that's where owning and being vulnerable, but also understanding that there's a really important time for this to happen. That's
amazing, because I find that even the point you just made about, hey, once you call yourself an artist, you kind of open yourself to being critiqued. That's something that innately kind of happens. Like when you hear a song from a musician, right? You're either going to like it or dislike it or whatever. If you see a painting, you're either going to gravitate towards it or not pay attention to it. There is that. There's no gray area there. Like, it's really, you either like something or you don't. But I love that you're taking this chance, because, or actually better, I love that you're kind of betting on yourself, and you're kind of like, what, I've been doing this thing behind the scenes for so long, but I have this bookshelf full of poetry that I've been writing forever. Now is the perfect time. The stars are aligning. I'm putting myself out there. Do you find that and I equate this to like a Dr. Dre situation, right? Where it's like you're producing and you're rapping. Do you find that you have like the curator hat on for your own stuff?
Yes. It's hard. It's hard not to, when like the 9 to 5 is to be. I'm a creative director at my husband's company, which is Rick's Good Eats. Yeah. So 9 to 5, when you're doing that for a brand and you're constantly, doing brand management and PR. Yeah. It's hard not to do it for yourself, but I'm actually trying not to, and I'm not the artist experience. But I think that's a part of it. I think that's a part of being able to have been in this industry now for 9 years now. Yeah. Is that it's just owning it. It's just jumping with 2 feet in. It's just not looking back on it.
Yeah.
And then also understanding that this experience needs to be shared in whatever way it's possible. So for it being commissioned for this magazine, I'm extremely lucky that it's taking my first piece can be on this kind of a platform. Super stoked.
I know, and I think congrats to you, because I know how much work you've put just in regards to everything else that you work on. So I can only guess how much work you've put into your own craft as well. And like being commissioned, I think, or having an opportunity where somebody's investing in something that you've been doing as a hobby for so long is almost that validation that you need to be like, you know what, I could probably do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the way that the pieces have been commissioned, all of them are there's a common thread.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're so different, each of the artists' expressions are so different anyways. There's this common thread that goes throughout all the pieces
mm-hmm.
that makes it feel like we're telling the tale of telling the same tale different ways,
Awesome. Yeah. That's cool.
Experiences and our expression and the actual mediums are so different from each other. That is that sense of belonging, what we talked about earlier, identity, unity, all of that thread runs through all the pieces. And so being a part of that is really cool because I'm able to express these things that I've worked with. I think a lot of the artists I've worked with in the past and the experiences I've worked with have also included these themes. So it doesn't feel uncharacteristic to be talking about this, but it feels quite natural.
That's awesome. We talk about the idea about belonging, and we talk about just the common themes that exist within the first issue. Are there any, as you're kind of putting it together, or as you're kind of I guess dotting the I's, crossing the T's before it comes out on Tuesday, are there any particular pieces that stand out in your mind? And you can mention yours if you want.
Oh man, now you're putting me on the spot here. I'm being so honest. Every single piece, I like ferociously read.
Really, I love it.
I can't pick. Neps of this piece is just wow. Nyla's piece. Oh my God, Alex McLeod and group Richness piece. Like every single piece, Black Power Barbie's cover art.
Wow.
Every single component to this magazine, again, it's just come together in like a really cool way. And it makes me even more excited for the future editions. Like if this is how we're coming out of the gate.
Yeah.
It sets you up for understanding what the possibility is in terms of what stories are out there, like what other stories are out there, what other artists are out there who are creating and grappling and expressing and wanting to be a part of this discussion, mm-hmm. but haven't been approached yet, haven't been shown yet. So that's the cool part.
That's the exciting part. When it comes to just even curating as well, is when you kind of push yourself. And I've curated music festivals before. I've actually got one coming up next month. And for me, I always try to push myself to try to unlock talent that I've never listened to before or I've never encountered. Like actually like doing the research and actually, going on random IG profiles or going online or reading the articles and actually trying to find where some of these hidden gems are. Well, I'm curious, and this is more of a curator question because I'd love to learn from you because you've been doing it for so long. How have you sort of gotten your inspiration, or how have you gone about finding the talent?
I've been lucky enough that because I invest like a lot of my time, it comes across I wouldn't say naturally, but it's a natural process so far. So I have this rule about Instagram. So say like for me personally, a lot of the times where I find artists is Instagram, just because that's the world we live in, that's how I consume art, like digital art specifically.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I had this rule that I only really follow art sort of blogs and museums and curators and artists. So it sometimes becomes like a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like that. Yeah.
Click, and then you find something. You're like, "Whoa, what is this?" So That's the cool part about digital media. I'm a big advocate for accessible media. And I think that's the thing about what I've done and where Newest and where that overlap is that when I did art shows, I would say like 95% of the people who would come to the art shows or to the experiences were like completely new to the art experience world.
Yeah.
So it's probably like their first time coming to an art show. This is the first time seeing an artist, understanding what an art exhibit is. And so it's an access point. It's an access point for someone to be like, oh, I don't know art. I don't like art. Art's weird. What's the point? Like, I don't get it, you know? But for them to come in somewhere and be like, I don't know why I connect with this.
Yeah, it feels good.
Speak to me. Why does this experience? Why does it make me emotional? What is this about this artist's expression that connects with me, even though we have nothing in common?
Yeah.
That access point to understanding the art is such a transitional space where you can learn more about yourself, and not just about yourself, but also the perspectives that are being put forward to you. Newest has become that access point in a digital means.
Nice.
And so that's where I was talking about when it comes to walking into an exhibit. That's the feeling I get when I go onto Newest, is that it's that same excitement. I feel like, oh, I'm about to experience someone's expression. I get really excited about that kind of stuff. And so feeling that on a digital platform, and it's specifically optimized for digital, because that's the thing that I kept being so annoyed with is that someone be like, oh, we're doing an online exhibit. I'm like, amazing. And I'm just like, oh, it's like buffering and I can't really see the piece and I want to get closer. And what's the
slideshow, a flash slideshow?
They do like an actual tour, like a tour of the museum, and it's just so it's like I want to be there. I want to feel
I know.
that feeling that you get when you're actually looking at texture. Like, to be able to capture texture on a flat screen is incredible, but you'll see on an Alex McLeod and Gurpreet Jinnah's piece, they've captured texture.
Amazing.
And then using digital media, using GIF, using video, say GIF or GIF, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
But we're
good with both here.
Using those mediums and actually expressing and actually connecting through a screen, that's difficult. I find that's very difficult. But to do that as the primary source of you now connecting with people and creating the access point for learning and for sharing and experiencing, that's cool.
Yeah, and to me, I kind of look at, and I'm glad that from a magazine standpoint, you guys really thought through the digital experience. Because to your point, over the last couple months, we've seen digital experiences where they can be anything from a slide. And I'm not knocking anybody, but I think even working closely with other festivals that predominantly used to just rent out art galleries and commission art and have it on the wall, that was a challenge. It was like, well, this art is beautifully done by hand, but once you snap a photo or scan it online, you lose that. You lose that texture piece that you talk about, and there's that fear that it may not be doing it justice. I'm glad that you and the team thought that through, because I know that's something, talking to artists or talking to creators, has been a huge challenge during these last couple of months. And I love that Gurpreet's a part of it. Gurpreet's a good friend, and him and I have had conversations numerous times, mainly from a music side, regarding collaboration and just, sure, you see like a band doing something on Zoom and it's edited together, but how can that come to life naturally? And how can this be the wave moving forward? It really is that cross section between creativity and innovation, which I think needs to be the wave moving forward.
Absolutely, and that cross section between organic and synthetic. I think that's the one as well. Art is created at the forefront organically, but there's also modern art and contemporary art is done with some sort of, I don't want to say synthetic, but sort of like that means where it's actually created, and it's more the thought has been put into it. So finding that intersection is amazing, because it allows someone, again, who has never experienced art in this way to see it and be able to appreciate it and not lose any of that experience. No,
I think that's amazing. That's amazing. Personal question for you, Joe. what inspires you? Because you've been someone, like I said, you wear many hats. You've been in the scene for quite some time. What really keeps you going?
It's my lived experience. I think it's like my background, my heritage, and my lived experiences. I think those are what inspires me the most. It's in my piece, I am really it's very personal. I'm going through something that my grandmother has used to call me the word is Togetherness, and it means not of this land. You're not from here. So if I would speak Punjabi and it wasn't like exactly proper, I was.
I've been there before.
I would do something that was too Canadian.
Yeah.
Call me a Gadesan. Gadesan in Punjabi means someone who's not from here. They don't fit in. And that's, I'm really getting really personal with it in terms of my experience. My mother is an artist as well. And I'm very lucky that the sort of the narrative around Punjabi people or South Asian people who want to be artists or Asian people who want to be artists is that your parents are not supportive. But I come from an artistic family. So I'm very lucky that, it's something that I was pushed to do, actually, more than anything was like, be an artist, do art. And so I come from a very unique perspective in that sense. And it was owning that. It was owning my lived experiences, owning that I've been performing on stages and owning the lived experience that I've been through. I've been able to see with my own two eyes that I can read and understand and create perspectives for myself. That's where my inspiration comes from, to be honest. And honestly, I'm a Punjabi file. I love all things that have to do with my heritage and my culture. So even the bad, I feel like you can't just take the good, you have to take the bad. And the bad is what gives me even deeper perspective and then fire to move forward and try to create change.
Wow. No, amazing. I think that's beautifully said. And I think that's when, to me, I think that's when the inspiration really hits, right? Or when the piece really hits is when you can sense the living experience, or you can sense the perspective or the challenge that someone has faced in their life, and they're able to bring it to life using some type of creative medium. I think is the perfect way to bring it to life. So no, that's awesome. That's great. I know you touched on this earlier, but I do want to again, I'm so inspired by the fact that, behind the scenes Jyoth is now becoming artist Jyoth, or has been artist Jyoth, but now we're seeing it. I want you to get your Fred Van Vliet on. What advice would you give to anyone that wants to bet on themselves?
Jump right in.
Yeah. But
do the work. When you're trying to do something that you've never done before, or trying to really follow through, there are no shortcuts.
Yeah.
There's no magic pill. There's no magic thing you can do overnight to make 3K fast. It's just not. It's not how it works. It is do the work. Do the workshops. Give your art and give your whatever you're trying to do. Even if it's business, whatever it is, give it its full respect it deserves by giving it the time it deserves. And I honestly believe that if you really dedicate yourself to something and you give it its, you're not giving it 95%, it gives its full 100% towards it, it will turn out the way you want it to turn out. Don't compromise. That's another one, is that when you compromise your perspective and you compromise your vision, you compromise what you want this at the end to be like, you lose. You do lose. So that is my number one thing. I think I've figured this out in terms of, for myself, putting myself out there, is that I did the workshops. I do know how to write. I studied writing. It's not just, I'm just slapping it together.
Put some words together, hopefully they'll fit.
Exactly. And it's understanding that I have to give it the respect it deserves. If I'm putting my craft out there, if I'm really wanting to be representative of somebody, because it's not something I asked for, but it's something that has happened, is that you advocate, for your community, for yourself. And if you're not going to do it, no one is going to do it. There's this thing that Mindy Kaling in one of her books, she says that, that her voice was missing, but that doesn't mean she could wait around for her voice to be written. She was the one who had to write for her own voice.
Wow.
So the Mindy Kaling voice didn't exist. She had to create that voice. So there's a reason why you can hear her voice in your head, is that, you have to create space at the table for your own self. No one's going to do that for you. Everyone's looking out for themselves. So do it yourself.
Amazing. First issue of Newest drops on Tuesday. I honestly cannot wait to check it out. Even before this interview, I was super excited, but now talking with you, I can't wait for the experience. I'm going to make sure I got my little beverage going and ready to go on a journey on Tuesday. Where do you and the team hope to see Newest go in the future?
Hoping to create space, honestly. It's hoping to continue the conversation. It's continuing to explore Canadian identity and Canadian artists and create a platform that is accessible and that is reflective of the Canadian identity and all the perspectives that come in that crazy spectrum that we talk about as diversity. Is that it should be that missing page that we've been waiting for, that perspective we've been waiting for within the arts and culture community. That's what we're hoping Newest is.
Awesome. Joe, I've had a blast talking with you. I need to bring you back on the show more often to just spit some knowledge and let the people know what's going on. If anybody wants to connect with you, if anyone wants more details as to how they can check out the new issue, this is your opportunity to tell us how.
Yeah, check out Newest. You're going to go on to newest.co. It's NEWEST.co. I would really appreciate you just enjoying it and just taking your time with it and just
bookmark it.
Have a cup of tea and just sit and just go through it, and you're going to love it. I promise. Or at least you're going to be challenged by it, and you're going to be learning something from people's incredible perspectives. And to follow me, it's at Harjot Guman on Instagram.
Awesome. Yeah, next time we do this, we'll be at Rick's Good Eats.
I miss pull out again.
Yeah, hopefully. I miss my Punjabi cheeseburger. That's Harjot Guman Matharo, aka Jot. Go check out Newest Magazine, July 21st. So actually, when the podcast edition of this interview comes out, it's the exact same day, so we'll have the link included in our bio. But yeah, Joe, thanks again. Can't wait to have you on in the near future. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back here on New Theory Radio on News Talk Saga 960 AM.
You are listening to New Theory Radio. Theory Radio.
Welcome back to New Theory Radio, here live on News Talk Saga 960 AM. My name is Nav Nanwa. I am your host, and this is the show where we theorize on arts and pop culture. Special thanks to all of our guests that joined us for this very special NTR Spotlight edition of New Theory Radio. Special shout outs to Terence Penny for joining us earlier. Go check out his new project, his latest project actually, TP the EP2. Which is streaming across all platforms. And just like how he mentioned earlier, a deluxe edition of the EP will be coming out very soon and will feature a song with no malice from the rap group Clips. So that's a big one, and we're looking forward to checking that one out. Special thanks to Sunny Gill, the president and founder of IFFSA Toronto, the International Film Festival of South Asia, for joining us as well on the show. Don't miss IFFSA, August 6th to the 16th. For more details, visit IFFSAToronto.com. It is a virtual festival this year, so if you go to the website and you click the virtual festival link, you'll be able to sign up for a bunch of the screenings that are taking place all throughout the duration of the festival in August. So go check that out. It's a very Netflix-friendly style platform, and I've already gone in and made my picks and can't wait to check them out. And then big thank you to Harjot Guman Matharu for joining us, the editor of Newest Magazine. Yes, Newest Magazine comes out with their first issue on July 21st. So if you're listening to this on Sunday, it is 2 days from now. If you're listening to this on Monday, it is tomorrow. If you're listening to the podcast version when it's out on Tuesday, it is actually out already. So go check it out. Harjot and Reggie and the entire team have worked hard to put this issue together, and I cannot wait to see it all come to fruition and to bring on Newest more to New Theory Radio, because it's a wonderful platform, and I'm looking forward to working with them in the near future as well. And this is a wrap for this week's edition of the show. So thank you for tuning in and checking us out. If you want to connect with us, it is at New Theory Radio on all social platforms. If you want to connect with me, it is at Nav Nanwa on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to connect with Saga 960 AM, it is at Saga 960 AM across all platforms. Go check us out. We have a lot of wonderful content that takes place each and every day. As well, if you missed this recording of the show, it will repeat on Mondays between 8 to 10 p.m. As well, the podcast version is out on Tuesdays via Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can visit newtheoryradio.com to download the podcast, or you can check out saga960am.ca to access it there as well. Big thank you to my little brother Amit Nanwa at Colorblind Photography _ on Instagram. He is the man responsible for all of our graphics and our visuals that you see on our social channels. So big shout outs to him. As well, special thank you to at Dusty Loops, my brother, the producer extraordinaire. He is responsible for our theme song and some of the other instrumentals that you hear all throughout this episode. Go check him out, www.dustyloops.ca. And that's it for this week. So yes, thanks again for tuning in, and you will hear all of us next time. Peace.